Hey, what's going on? Wasn't planning on getting on tonight, but I was about to go to sleep and I saw something interesting. I don't think anybody's gonna get in the room because I didn't announce it. It's like about midnight my time, but since I already know how to do this by live streaming, I don't know how to record like offline and then post and upload it later. So whatever. I made it a live stream anyway, but um, it's some interesting stuff happening and. Um, we talked about the Klobuchar thing, and that was pretty funny. With all the people melting down over Klobuchar, and I want to talk about something that happens a lot, and I don't know why we as Black people do it a lot, but a lot of these blue check blacks do it especially, and what that is the reward earn as opposed to earn reward. Like earn reward is you earn something and then I'll reward you. Whereas black voters have this thing, we're gonna reward you and I'm warning you, you better earn it after we reward you. And that just makes no sense. That's not really how people work. Uh, I mean, it doesn't work with children. It doesn't work with the dogs. It doesn't work with adults. Like you don't give a dog a treat and then demand to do the trick when you're training it. You don't reward people over and over. And like that's something that we keep doing. We just keep rewarding them and then saying, okay, we rewarded you. Now how are you gonna earn it? And I mean, whether it's a woman having sex with a man and that old advice mothers used to give their daughters, like why is he gonna pay if you give them milk for free? The way you train a dog, the way you um, do whatever to get things out of people. You ask them to earn it, then you reward them, and that's a lot of the language around all of this is all about rewarding and earning, and then people wonder why it doesn't work. And I want to talk about in the last video I showed all those uh, black female pundits, who are on Joy Reid talking about that stuff about how they're going to threaten to hold the party hostage or anything if you don't get them to vote. And I was talking about how toothless they are. They're paper tigers. That's the earlier live stream from today. I'm not going to rehash all that. I'm not going to repeat it. But in the Washington Post, a whole bunch of them just got together. And like I said before, a lot of these people are on the outside because Joe Biden has his own circle of black women. He's not going for the influencers. He's not going for the talking head pundits or whatever. He's got people like Karine Jean-Pierre and who worked in the Obama White House. He has his own pipeline of people. So a lot of that class of social justice influencers frozen out. That Blavity BuzzFeed crowd is frozen out. And what was interesting is they're doing everything they can to get his attention. And one thing they did an op-ed last Friday in the Washington Post. 7 of them, some of them were in that Joy Reid video. They're making a full court press, So Alicia Garza, comedian and cultural commentator Amanda Seales, and 5 other women. I forget who all of them were. And they were really pushing. They were pushing for Stacey Abrams to get in there because she's kind of a influencer type herself. So if she gets in there, she's going to bring the rest of them in, is what they're feeling, is because she's cut from the same cloth. These people are like a mutual admiration society in many ways. They count on each other. That's what they do. They're always bigging each other up. It's a very being a blue check is a very incestuous lifestyle. And they're always bigging each other up, hooking each other up, trying to get each other put on in hopes that, if one of us gets put on, they're gonna pull the rest of us up, or just by virtue of being there, they're gonna pull the rest of us up. That's the mindset that's behind it, So these women all got together and did this Washington Post op-ed, unprecedented. All get together and push and tell how much the Democratic Party needs Black women. But look at how they put it. And this is let me find it real quick. But you got to see how they put this, because it's self-defeating before it even starts. And here it is. But here's the article. The article is paywalled by Washington Post, so I can't pull up the actual op-ed article, but here is a coverage of the article over at Mother Jones. Joe Biden needs Black women voters. They have a new message for him. Now, first off, Black women voters have made it clear that they are the ones who save everybody. They save the party, and they vote 98% against Trump. So, sure, he needs them, but what danger does he have of them not showing up? Because they've so overcommitted in the past to coming out for the Democrats and being against Trump, and all they do is keep telling people how committed they are to saving the party. Like, they've done all the rewarding up front and all the indication that they plan to keep rewarding now. So can you really see Black women really en masse, especially these types, making a true call for staying home and not voting? Especially when so many of these women in the past 4 years have been beating the talking point home of how much better they've been than Black men at being anti-Trump and voting Democrat. Like, they can't turn and change now. So it's a very toothless threat. So peep this video that they did for Washington Post, and keep in mind when you watch it the stuff that I've been saying the past couple of days, especially the Earth Mother, Black woman magic, save everybody, neo-Mammyism, the political mammyism that I keep talking about.
Biden, you need us.
Look at the sound going.
Vice President Biden, you need us. You owe us. Black women are miracle workers.
We have been saving the Democratic Party since 1965.
2020 is no different.
So you owe us. You need us. Black women are magic. We've been saving the party since 1930 something, and 2020 is no different. So basically, you're saying again that you're all in. You're pot committed. You're gonna throw it all out there. So where's the or else? There's no or else in here. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is why he can treat Stacey Abrams the way he does. There's no or else. There's what's the threat? What's the threat? This is like elementary. It's earn reward, not reward earn. And I mean, keep watching this video.
Your only path to victory is through Black women.
The voters who need to turn out, we know how to mobilize them.
They mobilize anyway. And you're even saying yourself, you're not throwing out the options of not going to show up. And you've proven in no way that you're the reason why they show up.
Our votes must not.
And here's something else. Do you know why they can't threaten to withhold the Black female vote? Because if they threaten to withhold the Black female vote, and the Black female vote comes out anyway, which they will, because these people have no power, really, they don't really have a constituency, an organic grassroots constituency. They're grass tops. the top is grass, but there's no actual roots under the grass. They have no actual popular black support. They're chosen by white gatekeepers. So they can't actually make this type of call, because if they do, if their bluff is called, the people will come out anyway, and the impotence will be that much more revealed.
Not be taken for granted.
The following commitments will begin to show Black voters that you are serious about us.
America needs a Black woman vice president.
Candidates like Amy Klobuchar will not energize us. America needs a Black woman.
Now, people, they did there. This is a black male that Amy Klobuchar helped jail for life, and it was a very flawed case, and she kind of railroaded him. So that's another thing. These people will pull out black men at will all the time to get their thing done, but they're not asking for anything to be done for black men to stop this from happening. What are they asking for? Somebody of their class, of their educated black woman, pundit, academic, social justice industrial complex class to get a job. That's how you cure this, by giving black women from their class a job. It's kind of tacky to me.
America needs
A Black woman Supreme Court justice.
Remember Anita Hill? We do.
America needs more in a comprehensive Black agenda.
The rules are rigged against our communities.
Whether we are talking about a Black person who died of COVID-19 because of the lack of access to healthcare,
Or Ahmaud Arbery being killed by vigilantes.
or Breonna Taylor, an EMT killed by police while laying in her bed. We deserve solutions that address systemic racism, economic injustice, and
Black people have already come out for Jim Crow Joe, like segregationists, all types of crime bill Joe. He's done nothing but really kind of shit on black people, really, and benefit from the first black president, by getting picked to be his vice president. I mean, he hasn't apologized really for any of it. The crime bill, the segregation stuff, the busing, none of that stuff. And you're even saying in this video that you're planning to save the country again. 2020 is no different. You've basically said you've done nothing but be magical mammies since the 1930s. Like, where is the or else? These people are comical, and because they really can't play the game, all they're good at is politicking and getting into spaces and networking. They don't actually know how to play the game for power. They play the game for to get seats at the table, to get into the room. So they don't really have to leverage anything or. Yeah, it's this is a good one. Yakub said these people are holding their hands out toward the ocean and trying to convince the people around them that they control the waves. That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, these people want to talk about a black agenda only after Joe chooses not them in a general. I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. Let's just keep going. I wish I had access to the actual
and domestic terrorism.
Joe Biden, you enacted drug and crime laws that harmed the Black community for generations.
So here's another thing. They're only bringing up these important things now that they realize they can't get a job with him, or they can't get someone in there. So basically, a lot of the stuff is true, but they're only doing it because they want to get put on, and they're trying to guilt him. But it's like, it's too late now. You handle him with kid gloves this long, and they can't really go that hard because they still want to get put on. So this is how desperate they're getting. Like, it's so down to the wire. They're finally trying to pull out these guns now. They're pulling it out for guilt reasons. So they're still kind of softballing it. Like, Joe, you kind of messed up. You owe us. Not like, Joe, you're an evil person and we need big things from you. You know, they're softballing it. You're like it's something that a couple of hires will and symbolic gestures will remedy right away. They can't make it as heinous as it really is.
Every major crime bill since 1976, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
You say you know better now. Show us you're serious by doing better.
This country has a problem.
Police officers and vigilantes are killing us, and our quality of life must improve.
Joe Biden, this must be addressed.
You must address our oppression.
They have been quiet on that black male death thing for a while, so it's funny that they're coming back. Anyone who hasn't, read Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro, to go along with to go along with this quote right here. But Carter G. Woodson, I believe, he said, Harvard has ruined more black minds than bad whiskey. Was what he said about what happens with black people in the Ivy League. You know, we don't get educated; we get trained. Really, white people get educated, black people get trained. I forget who said that, but that's really what college is meant to do for black people. But I mean, this is almost done. Let me let it finish.
And most importantly, embrace our power to win the White House.
Vice President Biden, your campaign's mission is to restore the soul of America.
There is no restoration without us.
And here are all the names, but you know, there's no restoration without us. But what is us? Black women, not black people. So what these people are trying to do is they're trying to do this genderism to break out black women to almost make them their own race, make them their own class, you know, apart from black men. Like there's black women and the black community. And in the video I played from Benicia Garza later, she actually said that. She says, you know, you need the black community and you need black women. And when these people say black women, what they really mean is black women like them. They don't mean like the black women in the beauty shop, or, you know, with the big fake nails, or the ones like Tyler Perry stage shows. They mean a certain type of black woman, you know. So it's Natasha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter, Tiffany D. Cross, Brittany Packnett Cunningham, Alicia Garza, Sunny Holston, Angela Rye, Amanda Seals, and I think black politics really needs an overhaul right now, because the way it is right now, it's not working. It is not working. And I wanted to talk about some other stuff really fast. I'm not going to stay on too long. It's just that I saw how they were melting down online, and it was kind of making me sick, and I wanted to talk about it real quick. And black people have already rewarded Joe in South Carolina. Even y'all in your threats are already making it clear that you guys plan to, quote unquote, save the Democratic Party again, or save America. You're still pimping the Mammyism. You're still pimping the Earth Mother Savior to everybody thing. So nobody's buying it, you know. No one's buying it. But Zelina Maxwell tweeted this today: Joe Biden needs to pick a black woman as VP. That's it. That's the tweet. And it's like, okay, or else what? You know, what's the or else? And they don't state the or else. Like, they just kind of want to appeal to his good conscience. It reminds me of the Kwame Ture quote, like, you know, you can't appeal to someone's sympathy who doesn't have a conscience, right? And Breonna Joy Gray, ex press secretary for Bernie Sanders during the campaign, she should have called her out on it. Like, she quote tweeted Julian Maxwell. He said, "Or what?" And then she added, "No, this isn't intended to be glib. I really wanted to know." Because there's a gap between the vote blue, no matter who rhetoric coming from mainstream Dems and the appropriate desire to extract concessions from a candidate who in many ways doesn't represent the electorate. It can't be both that Black people are a firewall who always come through no matter what, and you need to listen to us or else, So it's like these people are the most staunch DNC cheerleaders that they are. They're always talking about vote blue no matter who. They're always pimping themselves to the DNC by saying, we're the most loyal Democrats that you have. Reward us. We're your most loyal ones. We vote 98%. I'm just bragging about it. You should be hiding. Like, if they see you and you're always saying you vote 98%, that tells them, hey, my priority, you're wrapped up. My priority is the one who votes 50%, or the one that used to vote 70%, but is now going 50%. It's like if you're the person like in a relationship who's always there no matter what. Like, this person treats you like crap. You're always available for sex. You're always available to be an emotional tampon or whatever. They're gonna put you in the back burner and prioritize the person that they can't get or the person that's playing hard to get. So Brianna continues, I personally would try to extract different concessions like Medicare for all and marijuana legalization, which would attract Black voters who suffer disproportionately from health crises and incarceration, while also bringing others into the coalition. But nothing happens with the toothless threat. And yeah, I mean, these people, because the only thing they know how to do is politic for jobs. They really can't play the real politics, which is punish and reward, leverage power, leverage platforms, play hardball. They can't do it. We don't have leverage. We don't know how to really threaten. But not only that, if you do threaten these people, because they so much want to be the good Black people and paint anybody who's not in their camp, who is Black, as the bad Black people, if you do try to say, hey, let's not vote, they'll try to performatively down you and bash you to prove their value to the DNC types. So what they'll do is, like, someone like me says, hey, don't vote, screw it, let's stay home. Like, I've argued with these people all the time on Twitter. They're always coming to people like my inventions and chastising us and saying, I get you happy, Donald Trump looks like you're a hotep, looks like people like you letting the America down. That's why Black men only voted 81% while we were saving the country. Like, they'll put you down when you try to play hardball and re-emphasize vote blue no matter what, and all that stuff, yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I like B. Scott says in the comments, they act like petulant children. But there's something else that I'm going to talk about. It's not even about this anymore, because I've beat that into the ground. And y'all see what I'm talking about the constant magic thing or savior thing, and you want to know why these white feminists are calling Black women spirit animals. Like, doesn't that video make them sound like spirit animals? Like, it doesn't take that much work to make that extra jump. And I want these people, and I want to make something very, very clear. When I talk about these people, I'm not actually talking about Black women, because these people don't represent Black women. Like, if you ever look in their mentions, you ever see people talking about them or to them, it's just as many Black women as Black men tired of these people. But The real black women who will speak truth to power don't make it onto these platforms. They get weeded out really fast. So these women kind of give black women a bad name a lot of the times. And sometimes I'll see people complain about black women when talking about these types. And I'm like, no, the same way misogynistic type of black men are people like saying out of pocket homophobic or crazy things, it's not fair to use them as something to slander all black men or make them the poster child for all black men. Like, don't make these people the poster child for all black women. They are not all or even most black women. And I want to make clear that I'm not saying they are, I want to make that very, very clear. And I don't want people to use my videos or podcasts as a way to kind of back up like black woman slander and think that when they're doing so, they're in the spirit of the show, because that's not what we're trying to say. I want to talk about this too. Jia Tolentino is very popular writer at New York Magazine. I don't know anything about her. I have no problem with her. I'm sure she's a nice girl, but she's very popular with the blue check crowd, right? Surprisingly, she's not a blue check herself, but she totally could be if she wanted to. She's very popular. She had a book. She's a writer, and she plays the social media and popularity game very well. Has a lot of fans. I have no idea what she's like as a writer, because I've never read her writing, but she is good at playing like the influencer game. And just because you're a good influencer doesn't automatically mean that you're not talented. Even though a lot of influencers actually aren't talented, there are some people who are good at playing the influence game but actually are talented. So I don't want to disparage her talent because I don't know. I've never read what she's done. The only thing I ever read by her, she wrote an article in Chapo, probably one of the first mainstream articles on Chapo Trap House, and it was pretty popular, and it was when they first getting some mainstream buzz. This is probably one of the first major pieces, and it was pretty fair. I've been out on the scene in the New York media scene, and I've seen her and met her. Like, she seems very nice, but she got this grief because her parents someone dug up some stuff, a case about her parents being like human traffickers and stuff like that. I didn't read her blog on it. I didn't read the court case about it, right? So I honestly don't know. I don't know what the story is, and I don't want to jump on the bandwagon. Everyone's just kind of, two things are happening, right? Blue checks are all falling all over themselves to say, oh, support, hugs, whatever. It's all good. We don't care. It's all fine. Don't let these people keep you down. And other people are just rushing to dunk on her and cancel her. Like, I don't know. You can get accused of stuff and you didn't do it. I don't want to just take the accuser's side automatically, but I also don't want to just fall over and empathize with her either. But the accusations look pretty bad. And she said, was she involved? As far as I know, she wasn't involved, but her parents were involved. But people, I guess, don't like that she's trying to downplay or misrepresent in their eyes what her parents were accused of. I'm not sure what they really want from her, since, like I said, she wasn't involved. But people found the way that she A, downplayed it, and B, how all these blue checks rushed to take her side. Tacky. Like I said, this has nothing to do with me, and I don't like to make judgment until I get more facts, because I feel like in the media, that's always happening to black people. We're always getting the worst case scenario being put at us. But I did find the rush to praise her troublesome because it was so many of the same people who don't do the same when it's someone that they don't like. You know what I mean? And this is the key part, and this is why I wish more people would do. Why go to either extreme? Just research it, you know? And some people were doing research, but the research was just to pull up transcripts of the court case. And when I pulled that up, it was just the accusations. But the accusations are just the accusations. I can accuse you of anything. So they had this whole narrative of all this horrible stuff her parents did, but it was just the accusation. It wasn't like the findings of facts. And people are treating that. And it's an extension of the Me Too thing. It's an extension of the crazy cancel culture. But I mean, this thing with Joe Biden thing where people either want to railroad him as a rapist or throw the lady under the bus and say, I don't believe her, Joe Biden is innocent. And I think we need to get back into the habit of having like a middle ground, like research, like trust but verify and things like that. Everything doesn't have to be stand or cancel. That's all we have. Stand or cancel. Stand or cancel. That's the only two things that we allow ourselves to have anymore. And have you guys ever noticed that the word fan doesn't even get used anymore? No one ever calls themselves a fan anymore. It's always like I stand, we stand a queen. Like stan used to be a pejorative thing. Like fans didn't want to be stans. It was embarrassing to be a stan. Like if you were a fan and you were reaching stan level, you would get made fun of. Like the song by Eminem, Stan, was a bad song. It was no one wanted to be that guy. When did Stan become the default way to be a fan, or the only way to be a fan? No one calls themselves a fan anymore. It's but the same thing with like haters too. Like no one actually calls themselves a hater, but a lot of people live by the hater ethos now, where it's like all I want to do is take things down and cancel them, and then somebody who's playing the stand role one day is gonna be the hater the next day when it's someone they don't like, and that's not a coincidence because that's like personality disorder behavior. People with personality disorders do something called splitting, which is also known as black or white thinking, where they can only think in extremes, either love you totally or hate you totally. That's why if you're in a relationship with a borderline personality disorder person, a narcissistic personality disorder person, histrionic, antisocial, it's always hot and cold, devalue and discard or idealize. It's always one extreme or the other. And I think social media and the internet's making everybody behave like that, personality disorders, and they do this. Somebody said, why did she bring it up? Far as I know, it was brought up in a episode of the podcast Red Scare, and she had to defend herself against it. And I didn't do the research, so I didn't know what was said in the Red Scare episode. I didn't read her blog post, and I didn't read the court case. This is something with the Nate Parker thing. I did a ton of research on the Nate Parker thing before I made a decision, and by the time I found out what happened, I'm going to do a show about that one day. I found out how much stuff was lies, but by then the narrative was already made. Like it was amazing how badly that was handled. And 2008 B. Scott asks, is this another form of parasocial relationships? Hell yeah, it's totally what it is. But people think parasocial relationships just have to do with wanting to be your friend or whatever. But parasocial relationships also have to do with hate. People hate you like you're the personal enemy, you know? Oh, why I came up on Red Scare? I don't know. See, because this is kind of my fear. I have this thing now where I don't want to overcommit to like gossip and things that won't matter in a week or 2 weeks, you know? So things come on my radar, and I try to be very selective about what I throw myself into, unless I think there's something valuable or a good lesson to learn out of it. So I'm half-assed watching this, but I don't want to delve into a bunch of. There's this really good phrase that I like to live by, and it says that small minds with great minds concern themselves with ideas, average minds concern themselves with events, and small minds concern themselves with people. And gossip is the discourse of the small-minded about people. And and I try not to delve into stuff too much on the people level unless I can find something in it that can bubble up to the ideal level, So like I look at what's happening with people and the drama with people, and I don't want to know about it like just to know about it so I know the latest gossip. I try to see if there's like a teachable moment out of there, if there's like whatever. So I tend to like let things bubble for a while and see if like a deeper issue is happening that I can get something out of. And this looks like it might be one of those moments, but I'm gonna wait and see. I just don't want to just be in it for the dog pile or the gossip or whatever. So yeah, I don't know why it came up in Red Scare. If I have some time, maybe I'll listen to the Red Scare episode. I'll see if it's for free. But I want to show y'all something. This is why I have this on the screen. Just give me 1 second. So she put this thing up, right? This thing goes up, and everybody starts putting their 2 cents in. Here's a tweet. My parents recently pointed out to me that some misinformation about them has been spreading online. It's since taken on a life of its own and morphed into petty internet gossip. I wish I hadn't had to write this, but I wanted to make some things clear. And she starts making it clear, right? And then everybody kind of jumps in, and they're saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm sorry you have to deal with this." Solidarity. Like people who know her, like, "I've admired your work for a long time." Jesus showing you love. So sorry for all this. What's happening is every single person who's doing that, then people go into their mentions and telling them, "Oh, you're a scumbag. You should read what they did," which is pretty horrendous. But this person is just reading the charges, So these are just charges. You don't know if this person has done it. If I was just read the accusation in any case that went against somebody, it would sound horrible. Like, that would be like if someone was accused of rape. If you take any of those people who were exonerated by the Exoneration Project, and then you pulled up their court case accusations to show they're a bad person, all you're going to hear is about, like, what a terrible rapist they were. So it's like, I'm not taking sides here. What I'm saying is, I think there's something crazy about the people just rush to say solidarity or we love you, heart emoji, but also the people who rush in and say, "Don't you know her parents are the biggest sex trafficker abusers in town?" But and both things sound kind of crazy to me. They look crazy to me. I just wish people didn't have to weigh in on everything. Like, I'm weighing in just to say, I don't know. I just wish more people would do that. Like, it doesn't sound good. I don't like how it sounds. Where there's smoke, there might be fire. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see. And the people are like, it's everyone. All these blue checks are like arguing and going for her, and then all like these people, especially like on the Dirtbag Left Twitter and Irony Twitter, are jumping in to scold everybody who is taking their side, because people like Keonga Yamada Taylor, people respect her as a leftist. Emily Bazelon, people respect her as a progressive lawyer, and other blue checks, people are scolding them and everything, and a lot of that crowd is coming in. And I'm the kind of person with something like this, I would really rather not rush to do the cutesy heart emojis and stuff like that. But everybody who is responding to them is leaving little eyeball emojis or hand writing down names emoji, like, we're taking names or we're going to remember. So this Cat Brown person says, "I'm sorry you and your parents are going through this," and then somebody puts like a hand writing down emoji, like, we're taking names. And yeah, Vanessa AB wrote something. I don't know who that is, but I see her on Twitter all the time, and we follow each other. And right now she's locked. She's probably locked because of this, because she posted something supportive to Jia Tolentino, and then somebody said, "Would you have written this if there wasn't a chance you could get your media job in the future?" So Gio Tolentino responds to the screenshots by saying, "This person is repeatedly tweeting the screenshot at people in my mentions as if it is completely impossible to imagine that court documents in a case like this might contain allegations that are incredibly damning, yet wildly untrue." So, and I want to make clear, I'm not caping for anybody. Well, Gavin said, I think there must be some piece coming out soon that she's responding to. Well, I don't think so. Well, that's not what I mean. Not a specific one. Red Scare is pretty popular in media circles and podcast circles. And, I travel in those circles a lot. And people listen and read that stuff. And it's very high school, that whole scene. So the fact that it's out in Red Scare, she doesn't have to know a specific piece that's coming out. The piece is coming out just because of where it appeared. All the media people listen to the same podcast, they all listen to the same podcast. It's why a podcast like mine doesn't have a huge audience, but it has probably an outsized influence because a lot of people on that scene like listen to it, and same with a lot of other podcasts on that scene. So can you imagine a podcast on that scene that actually is hugely popular? Because Red Scare's listenership way eclipses mine, and Super 5 Alive made this good point. Well, it's 2 points. I put them in a row. Other than Gia's reputation, what is at stake for anyone else? I followed Tolentino's writing somewhat, and none of it is really reporting. It's all cultural critiques. And that's kind of what I was saying. She's kind of an influencer, think piecer type. It's not like hard-hitting investigative stuff, but I think because the high school level of this, and we have an episode coming out where we kind of talk about this. You'll see the guest when it happens. But actually, I'll just say the guest. It's Felix Biederman. Felix Biederman is the guest in tomorrow's Champagne Sharks on the podcast. But we kind of talk about how weird it is that there are people who are just fans of New York media, but the person will live like in Wisconsin or something. There are people like they're not actually even like fans of like celebrities or whatever, but they're fans of like micro celebrities and the Brooklyn and like the Brooklyn media scene and the New York media and the Brooklyn podcast scene. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think just people just like being in on the high school drama. But yeah, I just found that interesting how all these blue checks were just falling all over themselves to do the solidarity. Ira Madison, hearts, Emily Nussbaum, heart. Good Lord, I'm So Sorry by Lizzie O'Leary, who works for Slate and The Atlantic. I Love You, Gia. And, I wouldn't want us to be showing solidarity just in case there is some kind of truth to the allegation. Like, for some reason, no one can just say nothing anymore. And that kind of bothers me. But I also understand being concerned about this stuff and wanting a good explanation. But there is something weird about the rush to crucify her. I think a lot of people just, to me, kind of didn't like her already. Is my take on it. A lot of people just didn't like her already, and they're just kind of happy to see her get dunked on. But this was one that I found funny, right? So if you can see it, Mero from Desus and Mero, yeah, my only concern is if she's involved or knew about it. Without that resolved, I'm not jumping in this weird mess. And that's something too. I want to know if she was involved in it or whatever. And I also want to know if she's knowingly lying about it when she downplays it. When she downplays it, is she lying about it and stuff? Yeah. And that's all valid. All of this is valid. I want to make sure that I make it clear. I'm not caping for her. I'm not going against her, because you never know when you might end up in one of these firestorms. And I would hope somebody would have the same care with me. If you ever notice with me, on our podcast, we'll roast people sometimes, but we have an outrageous amount of receipts, like way more receipts than to the point of overkill. And that's not for no reason. I'm all for being as vicious as you need to be, when you need to be, but no one as much as you can. So I'm still keeping my eyes on this, and if it does prove to be if there's fire behind the smoke, then by all means, I'm totally if there is fire behind the smoke, I'll talk about it in the podcast and I'll roast it to the high heavens, and you'll know that when we cover it here, it'll have like a shit ton of receipts, reliable receipts, like not hearsay. But I found this funny, and this is something something about the obsession like a lot of white leftists and dirtbag leftists have with Desus and Mero. And this is something I find really interesting. It's the flip side of the Black woman Earth Mother thing, or the We Will Save You, or the kind of neo-primitivism that Neo-Mammyism, Black woman is closer to nature. There's a male version of that, and that's the male dude with hood credibility is the Black man's version of presumed authentic. If you as a Black man can cultivate that, then that's the Black male version of being a shortcut to authenticity, a shortcut to an anti-intellectual type of realness, avatar or proxy or a channeling through which white people can get secondhand authenticity by consuming you. Like the same way a lot of white women think by consuming Beyonce's music and reading Roxanne Gay or talking about Auntie Maxine, they're actualizing their emotional, spiritual self. There is something about if you can sell that kind of hood image or whatever to a lot of white people and have it be authentic, they get off on that, So these Mero from Desus and Mero was one of the people, and I always find there's something extra about how he writes, like with all these caps. I think he's, I don't know, it feels like a neo-minstrelsy, the same way I call that other stuff neo-Mammyism. It feels like neo-minstrelsy. I just don't really like it. But fuck all of them sideways. And fuck that bozo that keeps posting the bullshit deep fried screen cap in the thread. And it's all caps, lots of run on sentence. And I'm like, I know you don't need to write that way. It feels a little bit performative. I feel the other one, Desus, doesn't do that much. You know, he doesn't lean into and go overboard with it. But this guy always doing in big caps does that. And I was really surprised how a lot of those kind of dirtbag and irony types, leftists who were going in hard on the other blue checks, seemed really disappointed at this one. Like, this one seemed like an extra betrayal to them. And I was very curious about why. I mean, I was like, what is it about him that they had so much hopes in him? Like, why did they take him as a betrayal? And this is kind of thing where I think people kind of project this type of moral authority. There's this type of like morality that it's kind of ironic, right? There's this thing called racist love, right? By Frank Chin. Like racist hate is you know, Fu Manchu, but racist love is Charlie Chan, you know. Racist hate is like Gus the Renegade from Birth of a Nation, the black brute rapist defiler of white women. But racist love is Aunt Jemima and Mammy from Gone with the Wind. It's who you have to be for racist to love you. So just like there's a racist hate and who you have to be for racists to hate you, there's the kind of minority that racists love. And something, and there's something here that I think kind of messes with that, right? So there's this thing he writes like this, and I always find it way over the top. But the things that people are saying, like, you know, write him down, you know, the same thing that they've been doing for everyone. But he said disappointed in the kid Mero, and I'm like, okay, why is this the only one that you see you're disappointed in? Like the other ones you expected from, but not from him. But someone said haven't been able to look at him the same way since they had Biden on the show. Like there was something about them that people elevated this moral authority to them. But that's what that racist love is. Like the racist love is this idea of, like, you know, black people as having a type of extra moral goodness, like the Green Mile, the Morgan Freeman and Shawshank Redemption. A lot of times you'll notice black people are kind of like the Jiminy Crickets or the angel on the shoulder or the sacrificial lamb in these white movies. Like they have a certain type of moral weight. That's the kind of image that those black women earlier trafficking in, when they're saying, hey, black women have been saving the Democratic Party since 1936. We've been saving everybody, and it's time for you to pay us back. That's an example of how sometimes black people weaponize these tropes on their own behalf. These blue check ones, they'll cynically they so understand what racist love lives in the heart of white people. They'll even start weaponizing it for their own careers and stuff. And you can't see this with this projection of morality that wasn't there. And people are start making jokes like the brand charges 60% interest. You know, this is bad for the brand. The brand is not about this, man. Come on. And what I find interesting is, in what universe does someone that call themselves a brand, are you surprised that they sell out? Like, they're called a brand. You know, it's like, you know, somebody jokes about something about themselves, but only do it as a way to give themselves a license to do that thing. You know, like, oh, if I make fun of myself for doing this, now you can't get mad at me for doing it because I beat you to it, you know. But, you know, the brand is strong, brand. This is who they are. You know, what have they shown you that makes you think that they're not this, outside of just going yo all the time and doing stuff? And it's just so funny to watch so many people say the brand is better than this, the brand is better than this, but they're all like leftists and anti-capitalists, and maybe they thought it was more of a joke than it really was, and they weren't ready for how real it really was a brand, you know. But yeah, people were like, I guess this is what happens after you secure the Showtime bag, R.I.P. And it's like, no, this is who they were before Showtime. That's why they got the Showtime bag, because they've been called as a brand even before then. It's like the brand took an L, and you know, I just think people just want, you know, people put this, not you, you know. So what I was so interested in how this one had so much. It had all the same people who were criticizing every other blue check that showed solidarity, but in this one, they were all very disappointed in a way that they weren't disappointed in the other blue checks, you know. So it was. I found that kind of funny, and then I don't know if once I see somebody call themselves the brand, that says everything I need to know, and that way of. That's what I'm talking about. It's like the joke is there to give them a license to do it. That's like why their behavior proves me wrong. You know, it's not a joke parody. It's not. It's a joke with some truth in it. You know, it's like some people do that. I wish I could think of a good example, but you know, some people like sometimes in a TV show, right? They'll introduce a plot element that makes no sense, and within the story, they'll break the fourth wall and crack the joke within the story about how what they're doing makes no sense. But then they'll go ahead and do it anyway. And they do that because they're like, if we it's called hanging a lampshade. That's what it's called. If you hang a lampshade on something, you render it criticism proof. You know? So it's like, you know, we see that a lot in superhero movies. In superhero movies, when they want to have something silly from the superhero mythos in the movie, in the live action version, you know, because they want to look silly to general audiences, they'll crack like a joke, like, you know, like they'll say that's that guy's a crazy guy wearing spandex, you know. But then they'll still have a movie where the superhero does what he does. But now you've kind of called attention and made a joke out of the criticizable part of the movie, you know, the goofy part, you know. And I don't know why people just kind of fall for it, but I'm going to show you some examples, right? And also I saw this and it made me laugh. This is someone said this about how like blue checks all kind of support each other, and it made me think of that whole thing earlier with all those women trying to get Stacey Abrams VP, and they all showed up together. That was an example of this picture, and the replies to Jia Tolentino to me were also an example of this picture. You know, this is a great example. A lot of woke corporate TV ads are like that. Like, you know, they make a joke about selling out in the ad to before they proceed with the ad. It's a very common thing, and I think it's very transparent. But look at stuff like this. I'll see if we can find some examples. I'm gonna look for some examples. Okay, I'm just opening up some stuff. Bear with me. I'm gonna set up a whole thing here, and I'm opening up the things to lay out what I want to talk about. But yeah, a lot of this is just about helping white people laugh at black people, but under the guise of authenticity. It's like giving license. And I talked about this the other day. Yeah, and this is right. So this happened, right? This woman wrote this. She said, I never noticed the storefront near my partner's apartment before. LMAO, laughing my ass off. And it was Gangsters Making Astronomical Community Changes, Inc., INC. And all these white gentrifiers popped in to laugh at the awning and stuff. And it turned out to be a nonprofit that does really good stuff for ex-cons and stuff. It's some people don't like them and say they're not that great. Some people do like them, but they have a pretty interesting thing going on where they do a lot to help people who've been in gangs and stuff fight recidivism, help them get out of it, and they do a lot of good stuff. It's pretty impressive. But also the website is gangstermackin.com, and that was on the awning, so people were laughing at that too. But they do a bunch of stuff to organize against gun violence, to fight criminal recidivism, to help people who get out of jail do stuff, right? And at first I thought maybe she was just laughing with the awning, like, you know, because it is a kind of funny name, and that the website's called Gangsta Mackin, you know, that is kind of funny and stuff. But there was something icky about all the white gentrifiers coming in to kind of laugh at the supposed ghetto-ness of it all and make a big joke. It was really kind of icky, and a lot of people got in her ass about it. But I thought maybe she didn't mean to encourage that. Maybe her followers took it another way, because that's happened to me. Once I got a lot of followers on Twitter, a lot of them white, a lot of the jokes that I used to make when I just had black followers, when I would make them, I would get kind of weird jokes by white people, and so I had to check them. I didn't like them, or it made me kind of self-conscious about what I tweeted that would be fine in all black space that was now weird or encouraging white people, you know, to make fun of black people. But then, and this is the part, right? CT Grand is incorporated, just calling them dumb, and that's what I was going to get to next. You see how she left this part out? Somebody took the tweet out, right? Maybe because a lot of people find it negative, but someone made a tweet, and then she threw in incorporated it with the T at the end. So then that confirms me and said, okay, these white people aren't taking it in the wrong spirit. This is the spirit that she meant it in. She's calling them dumb, and she's making like ebonics jokes and all this stuff, right? So she's the black friend that gives the white friends license to make fun of black people, and I found that gross. And a lot of other similar people were doing the same thing. This is another like black creative type, and he put this in response to her: please forward my cover letter to the HNIC. What up, though? Your boy is highly efficient, enterprising, and hardworking as a mug. My background is in language arts with the minor in early 2000s ebonics. I know how to juggle tasks and pick up slack as need. Holla back, AG. And a lot of people went in on this person like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's gross. And they started calling him a new black and saying, y'all who grew up in the suburbs you talk as badly about black people as white people do, and it's gross, right? But what I found fascinating is when I looked at her bio, she's a writer and producer, director on the Desus and Mero show. She writes for the show, right? And a lot of people were like, yo, I can't believe you write for Desus and Mero. But what I would say is the show does stuff like this, right? They keep having white guests on, and then they dressed him up in Bronx Hood cosplay. Right there, Desus is holding a money phone to his hand. They dressed her up in Yankee gear and Tim's, and Desus is holding the money. Now, picture she went on a white New York talk show, and then her and Jimmy Fallon dressed like this and took a walk in the Bronx or something. They would get roasted. But these people give these people a license to do that same stuff, and that old part of white people that missed out on being able to do blackface for fun and do all that stuff. Like, there's a little Justin Trudeau when a lot of white people, like, this gives them a chance to do blackface without the paint. And the same way Oprah uses neo-Mammyism and uses that, what do you call it? That type of magic black aunt yearning that a lot of white people have long had and missed. We talked about how America even wanted to have a Mammy Memorial at one point. The same way a lot of them missed that, and Oprah provides them like a virtual, refined, updated, politically correct version of that. There's a lot of people who want that type of black male authenticity of, the kind of what they perceive as like a street authenticity, something that they kind of like from like the Boondocks too, and from Dave Chappelle, and they kind of tap into that. And there's like more things that they did along those lines. Like there was also they had her playing CeeLo on the street. I found that kind of weird. So that they're playing CeeLo, and that's the brand. The brand, that's what they're selling. Like why are you playing CeeLo with Anna Kendrick from that Glee Club movie? Whatever that movie's called. And they got this black woman there hanging out too. So, and it makes like the Bronx, especially in this post-gentrified world, like to see the Bronx made into like a theme park like that, it's like a theme park version of the Bronx. I don't know. I just find it gross personally. That's just me. I find it gross. It's weird, and I don't know. So it's kind of funny to see all these white people so disappointed in them, because it didn't fit like their level of authenticity. But the authenticity that they were selling these white people, that they were gullible enough to buy, was a form of selling out in and of itself. But those white people disappointed now, they didn't mind that because it kind of played to their own type of racist love. Like they were tapping into those white leftists and whatever types form of racist love. So they liked it, and I made them think that they were authentic. And then now they're doing something that they didn't like. Now they feel like all kind of disappointed that their Magic Negroes were not who they thought they were. But the whole authentic image that they liked so much in the first place was already a form of selling out. They were selling out the black community in the Bronx by doing this neo-minstrelsy. They've done it with a lot of other stuff too. Like I forgot who were they with. They were with somebody where they were it was Pete Buttigieg, who they had a lot of he's had a lot of problems with the black community where he's from, and he's had like a lot of issues, and they had him on, and they could have done something hard hitting about what are all the problems with the black community in your constituency and all that stuff. But what did they do with Pete? What did they actually do with Pete Pete Buttigieg. What they actually did was this, what I'm going to put on the screen right now. It's not the best reception, but let's see how it looks. They took Pete Buttigieg to the park so they could drink out of brown paper bags together, you know, and they called it the segment "Getting Pete Buttigieg Uptown Certified." So they're gonna give him like his hood pass, and they take him to drink in public out of a brown paper bag. That's the brand, you know. I don't know. It's gross to me, you know. They do that a lot. They just bring white people on and allow them to cosplay as hood, and you know, it would be like back in the days, back with overt racism, you didn't need black people's permission to do minstrelsy and blackface. You just did it, you know, and they couldn't say anything about it. But now you can't do that. Now it's like what Neely Fuller calls the refinement stage, you know, and you have to have everything. Yeah, so I just found that funny. All that people were, all these people were like, "Not you, Mero," and it's like, oh, you just meant he sold you guys out now. But the whole thing that you loved about him was him selling out the hood, you know. But that was cute because you like that, you know. But God forbid he sells out a blue check. But to me, the kind of person that does that to the community they're from, is that kind of person that's gonna kiss up to somebody more powerful than them, because that whole brand is a way of kissing up to people more powerful than you. You know, that's not something you do for people in the hood. You know, that's not something you do for them. You're doing that for white people. You know, that's totally on brand. That's how they got to Showtime. That's how. I mean, that's just me. I mean, maybe I'm crazy because whenever I talk about them, people always look at me like I'm not black people, white people. Most black people I know don't really actually watch the show like that. Some do, but not really a lot. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. It's late here. Everybody comment, like, subscribe. Go to patreon.com/Champagne Sharks. Become a member. Tomorrow or today's episode is Felix Biederman from Chapo Trap House. I think you guys will like that one. And if you were a patron, you would have been able to A, know that he was coming on the show, and B, been able to ask him questions. We asked him a lot of questions from our patrons, and next time you can do that too. We also have some other high-profile guests coming, and you'll be able to ask them questions and find out when they're coming on by becoming a patron. And for this video, comment, like, and subscribe. And also for people, yeah, there's 30 people here. There's no reason why there shouldn't be 30 likes on this video. Last thing, if you like Twitch over YouTube, which some people do, know that we're on Twitch as well, and we simulcast. So you don't have to watch this on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. But another reason why I would like people to go to Twitch, even if they like YouTube, is there are some things, some types of shows that we plan to do that are going to be very copyright heavy, to the point I don't even want to bother doing them on YouTube because they'll get a copyright strike in a couple of seconds. But, you know, like live streaming, like TV events, doing music shows where I have like a music battle and talk about beats and different things and play music to like back up our points, like that stuff will be pointless to do on YouTube. It will get struck down in like 2 seconds flat. So that's why I would like people to follow us on Twitch as well. 90% of the time you'll get the same content on both, but there will be some Twitch unique stuff that we'd like to do. But yeah, man, so that's that. I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow because I might make this one the one I was going to do tomorrow. I was just kind of struck with the thing of inspiration and I want to do it late, but it's past my bedtime now. Thank y'all. Love y'all for coming out this late. I'm glad that we got this many people this late, 30. That's cool. And yeah, if you're not a follower, please be a follower and share it too. Share this with people that you know, that you think, you know, will enjoy this type of talk. All right, and everybody be good. Later.